Hi, Denise.
Hi, hi everyone. Hi. Today we will be having a joint meeting of the Board of Trustees with our foundation board, and this is something that I look forward to every year. And
Hey, Bill.
before we go into the foundation to have the foundation board, Mark and Christopher and Paul speak, I just want to let everyone know that I will have to hop off the car a little right before 10. My mother duties, unfortunately. Well, yeah, in this case, unfortunately, but I'll be right back on as soon as I can. I have, as trustee vice chair Stone, to take over in my absence. So just so you know. With that being said, is Trustee Massiello on? I believe I have.
So call the roll.
Yes, thank you. I was looking for you.
Todd Hobler. You may be muted, Todd.
I am muted, but I'm here.
Good. Len Lanahan.
Present.
I am present. Carrie Phillips. Carrie, are you here? Are you muted?
Vilasini Shanbag, I'm here.
I'm sorry?
I'm Vilasini Shanbag, I'm here.
That's not Carrie.
It's not Carrie.
Calling Carrie Phillips. All right. Well, Kelly, can you check in with Carrie to find out if she plans on attending? Jeff Stone.
Here.
Susan Swartz. Susan, are you with us? Muted, maybe?
According to Bob, she is not, Kate.
Okay, thank you. Denise Wilson.
Here.
And Travis Poling.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Trustee Massiello. And if the other trustees come in with their attendance. So I would like to call this joint meeting of the Board of Trustees and the Foundation Board to order April 29th, 2001 at 9:03 a.m. So the first item of, as you see on the agenda, is we'll turn it over to Mark and Chris and Paul, and yes, you have the floor.
Great, thanks. I'm Mark Allen, the chair of the ECC Foundation. Always great to be with you all. It's been a challenging year in 2020. We've made some changes. Christopher Musilowski has joined our group as the executive director, and we're really happy to have him. Many of you have met Christopher, you know him, but he's been a great add to our organization. He's really focused 100% all things foundation, which has been a change from what we've been doing in the past several years, and that's going to have a huge impact on our foundation. We lovingly call this the Foundation 2.0. We're actually rebooting our foundation and doing some really neat things. We've got a lot of energy. There's a lot of plans in place and a lot of things happening with our foundation. So again, it's great to be with all of you. Denise and Jeff and Christopher and Bill and I have been getting together on a more regular basis. We just had a meeting yesterday, and it's great to have those one-on-one interactions as well. And we're really encouraged about some of the things that we're doing as a foundation, and really looking to work more closely with the trustees and more closely with the school as a whole, as we create initiatives and we develop initiatives as we're going to review with you today. We've got a number of things that we've got in flight, a number of things that we're working on. Our mission is really to generate funds and to take care of our students, whether that's through scholarships or through a capital campaign for helping some beautification of the campuses. And that's really what we're here to talk to you about today. So we want to give you kind of an overview of the things we're planning on, the things that are happening this year, and some of the things that we're interested in doing as a foundation to really drive that mission that I've just explained to you. So with that, I'm going to hand the floor over to Christopher. Christopher, as you kind of go through some of the things we've been working on.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And I'm really happy to be here for this joint session. It's kind of fun to have our board and the Board of Trustees all together. If you hear screaming in the background, I do apologize. My wife is getting my daughter ready for daycare and she decided she didn't want to go. So that might be going on in the background. But so as Mark said, we are starting to take a very different approach to how we're doing things for the foundation. We are really trying to pivot and do a much more fundraising focused set of activities throughout the course of the year. So we've actually already put out our first annual fund letter. If you haven't gotten it, you will be receiving it soon. So we're trying to kick off an annual fund, which will fund our general scholarship fund. That's going to be an ongoing process throughout the year. We're starting with a letter from a graduated student about his experiences and why it's so important to students to be receiving these scholarships and the assistance that comes from the foundation, and how ECC is a transformative experience for them for starting here and going anywhere. That student is now a student at UB. So there are some, we have that in the works. Additionally, we are kicking off our scholarship week. We awarded 63 scholarships for over $50,000 a couple of weeks ago. We're reopening some of our rolling scholarships for the fall semester as well. So we are still moving forward with all of our awards, and we're trying to find more strategic partners where we can grow those scholarship funds. And also we're trying to advertise our scholarships better. We're working with some of our faculty and staff to try and say, hey, we need students to apply for these. We have money that's still sitting on the table to be awarded, and we need to get better at getting the information out that this money is there and that we can be helping more students, and making sure that the students are coming to us to apply for it. So we're trying to figure out new avenues to maximize our scholarship program, as well as add some scholarships so that we can help more students. For events and everything, we're actually kicking off our first event of the year on May 26th. With a Chef Darian farm to table event. It's going to be at 500 Seneca. We were looking at doing it on site and in the atrium at City Campus, but with some of the COVID restrictions, especially through Suny, it was going to be too difficult to try and figure it out. So we're moving it to 500 Seneca. It's going to be an absolutely wonderful event. I highly recommend people attend. Chef Darian is a huge ECC booster. He is so proud to be an ECC alumni, and his personality is larger than life. So that event is going to be a lot of fun. We were telling everyone that it's a very limited seating. I think it's about 100 people is what we can have in that atrium. So once we're sold out, we're sold out. I think we're 30 or 40% there already. So if anybody's interested, that's going to be a very neat and unique event. Additionally, we're still going to be doing our golf classic. We're bringing that back. That's going to be at Park Country Club in August. And then in October, we're bringing back the Celebrate ECC for the 75th anniversary of the school. So that's going to be a couple of really great events that we have coming up. We would love to have your participation. We'd love to hear some feedback from you on how we could maximize our sponsorships to really grow our scholarship program. The Chef Darian event is specific to culinary, but most of these others are going to be more of the general scholarship fund and everything. So we have some great events that are going to be coming, and we're going to be bringing more. We're looking at things that we can do that are outdoor style events, maybe in the summer of this year. If not, we're definitely going to be shooting for 2022. We don't want to bite off more than we can chew, tailoring how we're doing all of our work. But at the same time, we want to capitalize how excited people are to get out of their house and go do things. So we're starting with that right now in May, and we're going to be continuing to grow those types of events going forward. Mark, do you want to talk about some of the workforce training before, and I can kind of dovetail that into what we're looking at for capital campaign?
Sure, absolutely. One of the things that we've been doing as a foundation is really focused on connecting the business community to the students that are at ECC, and creating programs and things we can do to help with a pipeline of delivering pipeline opportunities from the school to the business community. We see ECC as a bridge to that. And that's just part of what Denise and Jeff and Bill and Christopher and I spoke about yesterday. And then Dennis Elsenbeck and Tom Albrecht and I spoke earlier this week about what can we do as business people to help create the opportunities for the school to understand what we're looking for, so we can start driving real opportunities, not only now, but in the future, a systemic way to deliver pipeline talent into our businesses. There is a huge amount of opportunity in the business community for talent. And it isn't just tech. I mean, I'm in the tech business. Dennis is in the manufacturing space with auto tech and types of things. Dennis is working with Adium and a number of folks at ECC to help put some programs together. But there's healthcare needs. There's all kinds of opportunities. I happen to be the chair of the Amherst Chamber of Commerce, and we had a meeting this week as well. And we started talking about workforce, and everybody raised their hand. Yeah, we need help. We need help. We need help. It's a systemic problem we have in our community, and ECC is perfectly poised to help deliver opportunities into our community and make it systemic. It isn't just a one-time thing. This is a pipeline of work that we want to develop here. So really excited about the opportunity, but that means there's a lot of work in front of us as well. And I'll open the floor to Dennis or Tom if you guys want to chime in on this. I'm happy to do that.
Mark, I'd just like to add that, you know, and you had mentioned ADM. I'd also like to mention Bill. You know, the business community has been disconnected from SUNY Erie, at least from my point of view, for
Uh-oh. Did we lose Dennis?
He's making the disconnecting point.
Yeah. Ah.
It's in slow motion.
Yeah, his internet just has to catch up with him.
We're having a hard time.
But yeah, Mark, you might be able to just help him out.
Yeah, I will. He's going to talk about some of the things that Dennis is the president of Green Machine. They have a facility, a large facility, American Axle Plant. The American Axle Plant that they acquired several years ago. John Williams acquired it, and they are actually manufacturing batteries in Western New York for the high for heavy duty equipment. It's life changing. It'll be industry changing. What they're doing is creating batteries for these non-automotive things, but they're vehicles like backhoes and loaders and a number of different things, heavy equipment that instead of diesel machines will now have batteries. Dennis needs all kinds of talent. He's looking at 100 to 200 people over the next year and a half, 2 years. And that's not one time, that's going to be a systemic type thing. So there's a lot of need for that. I was talking with Ann Cosentino yesterday from Horizon Healthcare. They're hiring people. There's all kinds of opportunities. And again, ECC is unbelievably well poised to bridge that gap between the students that we have and the opportunities that live there. We're working with ECC to develop a co-op program, not internship, co-op. We will pay these students to work. They can work whatever schedules work. We'll work around their schedules and put them to work. And at the end of their tenure at ECC or wherever they end up going, we look to hire these folks. Those are the kinds of programs we're looking to put. We've already put that in place. We've already hired students from ECC, and we'll continue to do that. But I think the opportunity here is wonderful, and we as a body, as a combined body, have the opportunity to really make a big difference in our community. So, Christopher, I'll hand it back off to you. Unless there's any questions, happy to answer any questions.
Mark, this is Tom Albrecht. I just want to jump in really quick and say yes to everything you just said. And I think what's really important is the concept of a pipeline over a long period of time. We have 35,000 people in our community that are unemployed due to COVID-19. And we've got another 80,000 people in Erie Niagara that are underemployed, right? So and we have employers on the other side that have jobs all over the place, and there's this gap. And I think CC is perfectly situated to be the bridge between the two, between employers and the people seeking jobs. So just my 2 cents there.
And really, it's incumbent upon this group to help make those things happen. I mean, we've got a search for a new president happening right now. That selection of the new president, we would like to see that president be involved in these conversations, help that president drive these initiatives that we as a business community are dying for, thirsty for, hungry for, to get talent. And I think, again, a rising tide rises all ships. And I think ECC could be one of those things that help rise that tide. So, Dennis, we lost you for a minute. Just so you know, are you back on now? Uh-oh, sorry.
But Mark, before you turn it back to Chris, I do want to mention something. If for those of you that read the Buffalo News, there's actually an article in today's paper about the company Verdi Parente, which is the company that Mark spoke about that Dennis is involved in, and the town of Amherst is using their battery technology to power all their lights, their traffic lights in case of power failure. So that's a perfect example of a local business in the old American Axle, east side of Buffalo, generating jobs. And, I was going to mention during my president's report, but we've connected with Dennis, and we're hoping at some point in the near future to actually site a classroom on his manufacturing facility so we can use the space and our students can work at the plant while they're getting their education. So it's definitely a win-win. And Dennis is an amazing champion for ECC, an amazing champion for the business community, and he's also the chairman of the board at Northland too. So it's a perfect connection to all the things we're trying to do in the workforce. And Kate, to your point, last committee of the whole, when we were talking about enrollment and high school demographics, we need to pivot. We don't want to lose sight of the high school demographics, but we need to pivot as an institution to address the workforce needs of the area, because that's where the students will be in the future for us.
And I would just add that the Greater Buffalo Racial Equity Roundtable is launching a youth employment coalition, and I think it's a perfect opportunity for SUNY Erie to work with this group that's, looking to have, move from programs to pathways for these students. And I think as we develop our offerings with the input of local employers, we need to include students too. That student voice really needs to be there so that we come ground up and we are all on the same page. Because, I know we know what employers need, or employers know what they need, but we also need to include the student voice in that. So I just wanted to make that point. And if there needs to be any connection with the Racial Equity Roundtable, please let me know. I'm happy to help, although I know SUNY Erie is involved on its own.
Absolutely. So then I guess kind of dovetailing from that with the workforce training program, and what we're looking at doing is, as we go into the summer, into the fall, we're starting to plan what would be a capital campaign for North Campus, where we're looking at beautification of the facility and how we can really make it much more of a destination where people are going to want, or students are going to want to be and want to spend their time. An additional piece of that, though, is we want to be tying in these workforce training programs that we're trying to do in strategic partnerships with local businesses and larger businesses. Companies like, we had ties with Tesla for the signage that we did over at the STEM building. We have some programs that are working through Lindy right now, and connecting with some of these large businesses that are looking for a pipeline of people and saying, okay, you gave us $120,000 to do some scholarships, to be some workforce training and then advertising on it. How about we make that a 5-year commitment of $1 million, or a 10-year commitment of $1 million, where it's not just this one-time infusion of $100,000. Let's sign a commitment so that we can grow this. We can put your name on the building and beautify some of the parts of the campus that need some updating and they need some work and some structural work. And at the same time, now we're also going to be able to buy new equipment for the students to be able to learn more effectively. And we're going to be able to get scholarship funds right in the door to be able to make sure that these no finances are ever going to be a barrier to these students receiving this education. And again, those advertising dollars to let students and people in the community know these programs are available. To Kate's point, that we need to be marketing some of the things that we do have available. Like I said earlier with scholarships, we have scholarships that are sitting unawarded because students just aren't applying for them. They're very general. Any student with a disadvantaged background can apply for some of these scholarships, and the applications just aren't even there. We have money sitting in an account right now to award, and some of that's a failing on us. We need to advertise that better, and we need to work better with all of the departments to say, hey, how can we better let the students know that this money is available? But we also still need to also grow that pot so that we can help more students in the future. And how do we make ECC more of a destination? Part of what we want to do with this meeting is sit down with faculty and staff who are out at North and say, okay, if you could reutilize some of this space, what would you do? Ask the students, what would you like to see on campus and how would you reimagine some of this space? So we get that holistic approach of everybody's experience instead of people sitting in a room deciding what to do. These are the students are the ones who utilize the facility. What would you like to see? The faculty and staff work there. What would you like to see? And then how can we grow that? And how can we make those strategic partnerships to be able to grow everything? So those are the main things that we've been working on, and what Mark and I have been having a lot of meetings with. We just talked to Bill about that as well. So any thoughts or questions about what we're looking at?
a thought from me, I am just really excited about the energy and momentum behind the work of the foundation right now, and pushing pushing the college forward. Kate mentioned from program to pathways, and you guys are going to be instrumental in that and helping us to connect to that business community. I also want to go back up to the May 26th event. I'm purchasing my ticket, especially after seeing that building on the news yesterday. That was I just want to go see it. So I'll definitely be there, and I hope to see my fellow trustees as well as some of our college community there as well. The link to this event is in the chat, and I don't know, Chris, do you guys have social media at the foundation yet, or?
Yep, we have social media. We've been promoting it. We don't have very many followers, to be entirely honest. Not a lot of people are following the foundation. Luckily,
Yes.
Chef Darian has been promoting it. He has like 30,000 followers, so that's been much more helpful than us promoting.
Okay, so Althea just corrected me, and that's okay. I'll get to see the Seneca Tower, but I'll definitely be at 500 Seneca as well. And is Chef Darian the one who was featured on the news?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. I thought so. Awesome. So that will be a great event, and I think one thing the board of trustees can do is just commit to attending events and supporting the foundation efforts, and not just in singularly, but bring out your constituencies, bring out your friends, and help promote events as well. I think that we need to make sure that this momentum is keeps going, and we can definitely help in doing so. So I just wanted to say that.
If I could, I think Dennis is back on again, and he just did a couple things he wanted to say. Dennis, are you there?
Sure.
I think he just bounced off again. So there a second ago, I wanted to grab him because I just texted him. He said he was back on. So I know he's having some technical issues. So, but he did have some things he wanted to highlight as part of the working with Suny Erie, and I think it's important for this group to hear some of the things that his group is doing and some of the things that they're focused on. So, if we can, when he gets back on, if we can spend just a minute with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right,
Mark, you may want to tell him to call in.
Okay.
Instead of trying to.
Actually, I'm on now. Sorry.
Okay, perfect.
Finally.
Okay.
Thank you. Apologize for that. I don't know why it won't let me in, but I apologize. Sorry.
Super.
You can have the floor, Dennis.
That was Mike Newman that was just speaking. I think we're looking for, I'm not sure where Dennis went, but he was here a second ago. So let's keep going with the meeting, and if he jumps back in, we'll reconnect with him. Okay?
Perfect.
So from our perspective, that covered most of the different pieces that we have in the pipeline, what we're trying to work on. I guess what we've been engaging our board and asking our board, just as Denise pointed out, we've asked our board to make sure that they are our cheerleaders in the community, and they talk about what we're doing. They talk about the different programs that we're trying, the events that we have going. And we would just ask that the Board of Trustees does the same thing. You talk about these events in the community. You continue to do what you already are doing, and just be the cheerleaders for ECC, and you keep the foundation kind of at the top of that list as well, because a lot of people don't even know the foundation exists, and we're trying to change that narrative as well. We're going to be starting our newsletter program, where we're going to be showcasing students, we're going to be showcasing scholarship recipients, we're going to be trying to talk more about our successes and what we have done to try and toot our own horn a little bit, but also to get people more interested in the ECC as a whole. And if any more support that we can get, or visibility that we can get, is absolutely wonderful. If you can bring sponsorships to our events to help us increase our scholarship funds, that would be even better. So whatever you can do to continue supporting ECC like you already are, and just keep the foundation as part of that, we would really appreciate it.
Sounds great.
Just want to chime in. This is Len Monahan. Just want to congratulate Mark and Chris and Paul and everybody who's worked to revitalize the foundation. It's really a new day at the foundation. We're really excited. This is just great. There's so much emphasis now on community colleges. Last night, the President's State of the Union, they talked about the community college initiatives and yes, some of the free community college money that may be coming. Jill Biden, teaching today at a community college. So it's a great time for the community colleges to pull together. I think it's our job at the college to create those linkages with you and the business community. And we will do that. But just want to congratulate Shannon, just a job well done of pulling it all together. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Len. Appreciate that very much. It's been as we said, the beginning of the year, last year was a tough year, obviously, for everybody. But, we've got a large percentage of our board is on this call right now. And that's because there's a commitment to the board. The board's engaged. This board is participating in the things we're doing. And I know, Dennis, we've been trying to connect with you. Are you back on now? All right. You can take the floor and say what you want to say. Okay. So we've been trying to get you to connect.
Yeah, I apologize. You'd think an engineer could figure this stuff out. I think I got to go back to the community college and actually learn something. So
we have courses for that, Dennis.
Yeah, well, see, you're never too old to learn, and look for a different occupation. So I just wanted to support a lot of what Mark was saying, and then also what Lenny just said, and that is to really think about the direction, both from a business point of view as well as a community college point of view. And I want to praise both Bill and ADM because the past 6 months in working with them and Joe, their level of flexibility is through the roof. And I just think, and this is not a slight, we need to expect more of ourselves if we're really going to turn around the community opportunities. We're building advanced and innovative battery systems on the east side of Buffalo. So far, zero state support because the idea of manufacturing needs to be part of our DNA going forward. And we can recreate manufacturing, especially in the green economy, because not only is President Biden talking about community college, but he talks about climate change. Here's the rub. No one even connects the dots. And it's almost like it's too much rhetoric and not enough, boots on the ground, block and tackle, and you and I working hand in hand to do this right. But we got to create something because we have a great opportunity, and the community colleges are, in my opinion, are the key to making this work. So sorry, I went off on but I've been bundled up for too long here.
Well, that's. I'm sorry.
No, I just said it was worth the wait.
Yeah, right. So that's pretty much our position. Like I say, there's a lot of energy. There's a lot of momentum behind what we're working on. I think under Christopher's tutelage and support of Bill, we're really going to take this foundation to new heights. And I think we're going to continue to be a force to be reckoned with in the community. So we're looking forward to that very much. Denise, I'll hand it back off to you.
I watched the president's address yesterday, and the only person I could think about was Trustee Stone. And I know he is going to give an amazing update regarding that, the president address. But one thing that I do want to say is just the focus on workforce that came through that address, the focus on community college. And it made me excited to know that we are aligned with federal initiatives and missions and such. So let's just keep working forward together. And I thank you all for the work that you have done and the commitment to the college. Okay. So you are more than welcome to stay if you would like. But if you would not, we will continue with the regular business of the board.
Denise,
Yes.
just one comment.
Absolutely.
I think that having been at the college for a long time, what Dennis is saying is bringing us back to our roots. I think the college initially, way back when, that's what we did. We connected with the community. We put abilities to jobs and connected them. And I give a lot of credit to both Dennis for staying with us after 3 years of kind of pounding the table on this and us trying to regroup this, and with Mark and Tom Baker, who's now our investment guy, and I and a bunch of other people put this together to try to make it work. And I give a lot of credit to Mark for putting together a really strong board. And we are moving forward. Christopher is going to be a good leader. And I think the enthusiasm is really through the roof. So I think if we can maintain that enthusiasm, I think all of us will be in great shape. And the college will reboot as we're rebooting and move forward. I just had to say that because it's in my heart and everybody else's heart in this phone call. So now we go to the meeting.
Hey, Mark, before you go, could you maybe just mention what other board members are on the call? So I know
Sure.
there are several
Yeah.
other members, and I want to just give them thanks for what they do for us too.
Sure. In fact, what I'll do is I'll have the board members that are on the foundation board introduce themselves and kind of tell you who they are. So Dennis, you want to you already kind of highlighted stuff, but just tell people what you're doing. Not only are you doing stuff at Green Machine and Purdy Valenti, but you're also the chair of the of Northlands as well, right?
Yeah, chair of Northland Workforce Training Center. I also sit on the Climate Action Council, and I was appointed by the Senate Majority Leader Stuart Cousins. And why is that important? Is because Buffalo has a voice in one of the most critical path items that we've seen, and I want to be able to be that pathway to make sure that we're not talking rhetorically, that we're talking real issues and the way to support this type of community. So I'm president of Verde Durante and very proudly so. So thank you everyone for your time.
Thanks, Dennis. Althea?
Thanks, I had to unmute myself. Hi, Althea Learson. By day, I'm the CEO of Leadership Buffalo. And also, I'm the secretary of the board. I am nominating chair. I'm on a lot of committees, and I am very proud to say that I was on the search committee for hiring Chris. So we're really excited to have him, and the energy on the foundation is just something I haven't seen, and I've been involved with this for a long time. So, I'm also a grad of ECC. I forgot that. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Althea. Jay?
Thanks, Mark. I'm Jay Kincaid. I'm an audit partner at LVBW LLP. I'm the chair of I'm the treasurer, chair of the audit committee, and under us, we take care of the audit, and we just recently set up an investment committee because our investments have become a big part of the foundation. My job really is to make sure that the backside of the foundation runs well. We've instituted some internal control policies, and we're getting the house in order so that Christopher can focus looking outside and bringing money in, and that we account for it well.
Super. Thanks, Jay. Lenora? Hey, Lenora? You're muted. You're muted. Trying to get unmuted here. Just press the space bar. Not working. Okay. That's Lenora Foot. There you are. You got it. All right. Do you want to introduce yourself? Lenora, you want to introduce yourself?
My audio is not working.
Yeah, it's working. We can hear you. We can hear you.
Oh, good. You know what? I don't know what's going on with my thing. Good morning, everyone. I'm Lenora Footbeavers. I'm a Buffalo City Court judge by day. I'm a proud ECC graduate. I also serve as a board member of the Western New York Women's Foundation, which provides funding to Suny Erie's Moms program. So that's near and dear to my heart. And I also serve as an adjunct instructor in the paralegal department. So I wear a couple of different hats for Suny Erie, but I think I'm most proud to be a graduate of this college and really excited about the direction it's going. I'm also serving on the presidential search committee, so I'm excited about that as well.
I forgot to add that. I'm on the presidential search committee too. Thanks for the reminder.
Yep. Paul, you're muted, Paul.
Hi, guys. Yeah, I take a second to get off the mute. I have no title at all. No, actually, I I've been with the foundation for a number of years, but with the college over 49 years. I just recently retired, and my move was to the foundation. I've served as treasurer, secretary, now as the vice chair, and my heart has always been with the foundation. I think that as we move forward, I will work as a historian and also put into links together, and I try to help Christopher as much as I can in terms of background and putting things together, and that's kind of what my main goal has been. If I can do anything for this foundation, I will. And that's kind of what I want to do.
Thanks, Paul. Hey, Tom?
Good morning. Hi, Tom Albrecht. I am President and CEO of Goodwill of Western New York, and also an executive in residence with the UB School of Management for Entrepreneurship. Recently came out of UB School of Social Work and School of Management. Been at Goodwill about a year, also on the Board of Development Housing, and right now Goodwill is reimagining pre-pipeline workforce development post-COVID. So you'll see a lot of reports. We just did some really large research projects. We're trying to do everything now based in research and data-driven information. So we'll continue to share that. But we're really working with the workforce part, what I would call pre-pipeline, even before the work that ECC is doing.
Tom. Brianna.
Good morning, team. My name is Brianna Crumpler. I'm a private client advisor with Bank of America Private Bank here in Buffalo, New York. I recently relocated from Seattle, Washington, so happy to be back here in the trenches. In addition to that, I sit on the board of Explore and More Children's Museum, and informally, I'm very involved with the Market Presidents team with Bank of America. Hopefully, we can really assist and secure a strong partnership between Bank of America and ECC.
Great. Thanks, Brianna. Mike Newman. Michael? Not sure if he's on. Hey, Mike, we can hear you.
There, can you hear me, Mark?
Can hear you, yeah.
Good morning. Sorry about the confusion earlier. I don't know why it wouldn't let me connect with the Oracle, but Mike Newman, president of Newman Properties, Inc. We started this enterprise after NOCO sold the gas stations. I used to run our retail division and own the business with my brother. We now do petroleum real estate development and supply. I just rolled off the Buffalo Prep Board. My wife and I are big believers in education and the continued need for improved opportunities for many different individuals. So the CCC Foundation is a wonderful chance to be able to do some of that. And I have to say, when we talked about, when you talked about the people that have done great things, Mark has really stepped up and gotten us all committed. And I want to make sure everybody understands that I think Mark has continued to be very diligent, along with many of the board members, to keep this group together. And I'm very excited about the workforce development opportunities and how we continue to help the students at ECC do well and thrive. So it's nice. It's great to be part of. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Michael, very much. Aaron Hayes.
Good morning, everybody. Aaron Hayes. I am VP Operations at KeyBank. I'm also alumni of ECC, graduated there as well. I also sit at also sit on the board at Buffalo City area. Fairly new to the board, and I've been helping on the scholarship committee.
Great. Thanks, Aaron. And finally, Susan Swartz, who sits on both of ours. Susan, did you want to say anything? I'm not sure if she's connected. I saw her name on here, so wasn't sure.
Yeah, I'm here.
There you go. Okay, great.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm the old maid here.
Super.
Yeah, I enjoyed working with you guys. It's been a very long time that I've joining the foundation. I'm just looking at my dates, and it's almost 12 years that I was involved in the foundation. So it's been wonderful, and it's even better. And I'm so excited for all the things that you've been doing so far. So keep it up.
Thank you very much. And finally, Bill Reuter, who is, he's always comes to our meetings, is always very engaged and very involved. You all know Bill, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention Bill and the commitment he's made, not only to the school, but to the foundation, and really helping us bridge the things we need to do as a foundation in full support of what we're trying to accomplish. So really, really happy and proud to be working with Bill on all the things we've been going on. So that's our board. There's more folks, but that's pretty much the lion's share of our board. And hopefully if you have any questions for us.
Mark,
yeah.
Mark, I think Dr. Schoenberg's on. She's really new to the board. I think she's on as well.
Okay, got it. I'm sorry. Sorry if I didn't see Dr.
Yeah, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I'm sorry I'm not on video. I have been involved with ECC for a long time. Education is my priority. I'm involved in the Scholarship Foundation. I'm reviewing some scholarships that's heart-wrenching. It's really a tough thing to do, and to have the cooperation of everybody is a great thing, and I am happy to be involved in the Scholarship Foundation and also with the ECC. Thank you for getting me involved, Paul.
Super. Thank you, Doctor. Thanks for your support. By the way, the doctor's also a financial supporter of the foundation, and really appreciate her commitment to the foundation and all the things she does. So, trustees, that's the ECC Foundation Board. Thank you for having us today. We appreciate your support and look forward to working more closely with you in the future. And I'll hand it back off to you, Denise.
Thank you so much, and welcome to the first-time members who are experiencing their first joint meeting. We appreciate you all again.
Super.
Denise, this is Jeff Stone speaking. I wonder if that was excuse me, but I think that was a very useful exercise to hear what everybody was involved with on the foundation board. I appreciate everyone attending. I was sweeping over to my right and left on my screen and seeing all the board members from the foundation. Tremendous turnout today. It was really great to hear some of the new people. And by way of strengthening the ties between the two boards, I know we heard from Susan briefly, but I wonder if why don't we just let the foundation board members know a little bit about ourselves. Some of them are new or from out of town, I heard. So maybe we should just let them know what we do when we're not volunteering for SUNY Erie.
That would be great.
Sure. I'm Denise Wilson. I am the board chair, and I've been with the ECC for approximately 6 years now, I believe. During my tenure here, I've served as chair as the finance committee, as well as the curriculum, student success, and diversity committee. I like to say that I am very student focused, and every decision or thought that I have is surrounded by, or is putting students first. In my 9 to 5, which ECC is my second job, in my 9 to 5, I am executive director of Erie Niagara AHEC, a health workforce organization where we encourage individuals from underrepresented communities to go into health professions, but not only that, come and serve in the communities of which they're from.
Thanks, Denise.
Jeff, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I just had an alarm go off, so I changed it. Hi, everyone. It's Jeff Stone. I'm the vice chair of the SUNY Erie Board of Trustees and the chair of the Budget and Audit Committee. I have been on the SUNY Erie board since April of 2019, having been appointed by the county executive, and I've enjoyed the service very much, although there's been a lot going on, as we all know, in the last couple of years with the presidential transition and of course, COVID, enrollment challenges, and the like. So one of the things that I'm particularly interested in is the relationship between the community college and the secondary school community, because my job is I'm the head of the public finance group at Hodgson Russ, Buffalo's large law firm, and in that role I work extensively with local school districts on their infrastructure projects, also cities, towns, villages, counties, and so forth. But the bread and butter of my work involves schools, and so I have excellent relationships with all the school superintendents, business officials, and Board of Education members throughout Western New York, the 8 counties of Western New York. And I'm interested in seeing what can be done there in terms of strengthening the ties between the community college and those schools districts from which we draw our students. So that's an interest. I also head the board of the Buffalo's Irish Classical Theater Company, where I've been on the board for 7 years. So I'm about to leave that board because there's a lot to do here at SUNY Erie. I'll stop there and go to maybe Len Lenahan, our former chair, our immediate past chair.
Thanks, Jeff. Yes, I've been on, this is my second stint on the board. I've been on the board a total of 6 years. Basically retired now after a career in local government, county legislature, and commissioner of personnel, involved in, of course, the Democratic Party. My main occupation now is as a grandfather, try to do a good job at that. But again, I really enjoy my participation on the board at ECC. I agree that the college can be a real conduit for the future, for employment and for placing people in employment and working with the private sector to do that. So again, I really applaud everything about today and our connection with the foundation, and thank everybody for their participation.
I can go next. I'm Kate Massiello. I am the chair of the SUNY Erie Policy and Governance Committee, secretary of the board. I've been on the board for 9 years, appointed by the governor. I serve on the presidential search committee. And I would say that my specific area of interest is it's really grounded in student success, but really, how do we reach out? And the foundation is doing a great job of this, and I'm looking forward to working with you to engage the business community and industry in helping us create the curriculum that will graduate students with the skills that they need to have living wage and move our region forward. So that employer industry piece, I think, is so critical, and I'm so glad to hear that the foundation is really focusing there, because SUNY Erie is really a driver of our region's future, and by investing in our students and in this institution, I think, that's how our community is going to thrive in the future. So thank you all for what you're doing to ensure that we are moving together and rowing in the same direction.
Todd?
Hi, everyone. My name is Todd Hobler. I just want to thank the Foundation Board for your commitment and your work and your enthusiasm. The presentations were great, and so I'm glad you joined us this morning. I've been on the board. I actually was thinking about this. I think 6 years, but I think 2015, maybe 2016. But I come from sort of the labor side. I'm the executive vice president of 1199 Service Employees International Union. We're a statewide healthcare workers union. We have 10,000 members in the Buffalo area, work at hospitals, nursing homes, home care, and a good number of our members participate in our training and education fund, which provides education benefits for 1199 members. Many come here to ECC in healthcare related fields. So I have a kind of a professional interest in making sure that we're that our members have affordable, accessible education opportunities in this community, and I think that works to benefit both the employers and our members and the college. So glad to be here.
Carrie?
Good morning, everybody. Carrie Phillips. I have been on the board
Oh, Carrie, we lost you.
from my day job.
There we go.
I think it's my internet. I'm back.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Okay, now we can, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was saying, I don't know where I cut off, but I was
You might have to turn your camera off, Carrie.
Okay.
Want to go now?
That help?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I've been on the board for about 1.5 years. And my interest lies really in equal access to everything in our community, but I find education to be particularly important. Job opportunities. My day job is in the public defender's office, and I strongly, believe that increasing our access to education and employment opportunities will lead to people in our community not having to ever meet me in a professional capacity, which is a good thing. So I look forward to strengthening our relationship with the foundation and to continue our work together.
Thank you. Susan?
I'm like I said, I'm the old maid. I'm the bridge. I build the bridge for the foundation and the college over 11 years now. I'm just thinking about that this morning. Oh my God, where did that time go over?
Thank you. Travis, our student trustee.
Yeah, hello, I'm Travis. Being said, student trustee. I've been the trustee for this year, and will continue in the role for the following year too. So, looking forward to working with the board again, and obviously with the foundation. I will say that in the last couple of months, I've been working with Chris Genga, and with the SGA, we actually had developed a new scholarship for students, and we're actually going to be setting up or investing $60,000 into the scholarship fund to create a new endowed scholarship for students that's a little bit more inclusive and open to all students. We thought that would be a great opportunity for the ongoing future of students coming here to ECC, and obviously with the year being a little bit different and not being able to invest in some of the on-person events that we had some extra money to figure out a way to again, just give to future students year after year. So great to see some of the things that the foundation are going to be doing for students and bridging the gaps for the workforce, and great to meet everyone.
Well, that's exciting, Travis. Thank you for sharing that. So that is our board of trustees. And like we keep saying, we are happy to work with all of you and look forward to our future together. Thank you. Mark, you're muted.
Thanks very much. Sorry, seems to be the thing. But thank you all for your time today. We really enjoyed connecting with you and getting to a little bit of your backstories. I failed to mention my name, by the way. I'm Ryan, what I do. I thought about that guy. I forgot to say that. I'm Mark Allen. I'm President and CEO of PCI. We're an IT services company in downtown Buffalo. Really excited, and I'm a grad of ECC, and really happy to be part of this. This is my second term as chair. And I think, as we talked about before, there's a lot of energy in our group and really excited about what we're doing. And Denny's just, we're actually moving our business down to the tower. So we're really excited about that move too. It's going to be great. So with that, we'll sign off and let you continue on with your meeting. I want to thank you all for today. And if there is any questions, we're going to kind of move on to the rest of our days, if that's okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Hey, Chris.
Bye.
Everyone is leaving. I think this is a good stop for me. At this time, I'd like to hand it over to Trustee Jeff Stone to continue with the agenda committee of the whole number 3.
All right, thank you, Denise. And appreciate that presentation. I thought that was particularly useful for all of us. Glad we could schedule that. As a reminder, now we'll move on to the next part of the meeting. We had a robust meeting of the Committee of the Whole on Friday, April 6th, which was not all that long ago, 2 weeks ago. And we covered a lot of topics in pretty substantial depth. So we're always needing to strike a balance between recalling what we did at the Committee of the Whole and without reinventing everything here and doing everything twice. So I think I will move on to the items on page 2 of our agenda for the board's approval, the consent agenda, and we can see them there. A couple of things have been added to the things that we talked about at the Committee of the Whole meeting. One was the Board of Trustee minutes from March 25th and the Committee of the Whole minutes from that meeting on April 16th. And then items 3 through 9 are essentially the things that we already have talked about in some depth at the Committee of the Whole meeting. Looking at those, I don't think that there's anything that springs forth as deserving additional extensive conversation right now. We covered these topics, we grew comfortable. Unless there is a request for some additional discussion on any item, I will look for a motion now for the approval of items 1 through 9 listed on the agenda under the consent agenda.
So moved, Joe.
So moved.
So moved.
Thank you. Len Lanahan, second.
Second.
Thanks, Kate. Any further discussion? Yes, go ahead, Kate, please.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut off discussion.
Yeah, not hearing any further discussion, we'll go to the roll call for the vote on that, please.
Great. Todd Hobler,
Yes.
Len Lanahan,
Yes.
I too vote to approve. Carrie Phillips,
Yes.
Jeff Stone,
Approve.
Susan Swartz,
Yes.
Denise Wilson, absent, and Travis Poland.
Yes.
So that's 7 affirmative votes.
All right, thank you. Those things are all approved then, and those are the items that needed our vote, and then we moved forward at the last meeting. Now we're moving to the board informational items, which again, were discussed at the Committee of the Whole meeting at substantial length. We heard, as you recall, the athletics presentation. That's not part of today's activity, but that we appreciated that. As far as the items 1 through 15 that I see here under board information, again, most of them were covered pretty well. The highlights were, I would say, item 7, our fund balance reserve policy, and item 6, our 10-year unrestricted fund balance situation. Bill Reuter will cover some of this, I'm sure, when he gives his report, but we spent a good deal of time on this. It was a pretty dramatic presentation of what's happened with our reserve fund. When I take a look at the balance, and again, this is just distilling down the most important elements of what we already talked about 2 weeks ago. In the 2019 and 2020 fiscal years of our college, we have actually essentially burned through about 2/3 of our $18.5 million, high balance fund balance. And that was our balance on August 31st, 2018. So as we are approaching 3 years later, we see that we've gone through about 2/3 of it, which would be even more without the infusion of certain funds that came as a result of the pandemic during the last year or so. Bill will talk about that, but it doesn't even include what will have to be the hit for the 2021 year. So we have a very significant financial challenge. We all know this. We've talked about it at every meeting, every Committee of the Whole, every Budget Committee meeting, and every meeting of the entire Board of Trustees. So no secret. Bill has reported on this to us time and time again. The situation is constantly changing because we are getting infusions to some extent of money from the state, changing state policies, initially holding 20% of our aid, then giving it to us. Federal stimulus legislation, 3 or 4 different sets of that, some of which affect us in more ways than others. Just keeping track of it has been a bit difficult, obviously. It's very difficult to compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges as you look at one fiscal year to the next. because of the effect of the pandemic. But we know we have big problems. We have got the pandemic that has affected our enrollment. We had the underlying enrollment problem, and we've got essentially a structural deficit here that we have addressed as best we can in our circumstances, but is by no means resolved. So I will leave it, some of the specifics beyond that to Bill's report as the interim president. But those were my comments on those two important items, 6 and 7. We also, of course, have our usual dashboard report, 8, and budget to actual, 8 and 9. There's some reporting here on exactly how we look in the eyes of Suny. The rest of the items are relatively straightforward, and I don't think, subject to the thoughts of any fellow trustees, that we have a particular need to address them outside of Bill's report. Of course, what's happening with the New York State budget and at the federal level, as recently as last night's speech by the president, all of interest. You've heard me talk about the federal stimulus at every meeting, and we continue to monitor that and try to weigh and assess the effect of all these generally positive things on our college. But we've got a big, big hole to fill in a very difficult structural situation here at the moment. So I think I will stop in terms of describing the items of board information and ask if any of the other trustees wish to comment on anything I've said or any of those 16 items listed there. If not, then we will just move on and hear more about some of those items from Bill, but take them for our information and move forward. Now, we do have one item that came outside the committee of the whole. I'm moving on to item 4.1, and that is the David Hatta amendment, for which there is the executive summary on page 178. And I think Adiam was the one who put that forward. So I believe she's on the call, and if she could brief us on what is the situation with this and what you're looking for from the board meeting, Adiam.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. It was presented to the board at the last meeting. We just made some corrections to make sure that our number add up. This is a contract that through the grant, the chair of the department consulted with in order to publish a textbook so that it coincide with what the grant funding supports. So it's really modifying the amount of money that was asking for approval.
I have a couple questions about this, if that's okay.
Yes.
So this is transitioning from the author is transitioning from a paper textbook to an ebook, ostensibly to address accessibility issues. So is it going to be audible? Is that why it's going to help blind people? And then how does it help deaf people? How exactly does an ebook enhance accessibility? I'm just curious.
So my understanding of it is that it's exactly to what you said in terms of helping individuals who have a different learning style or learning adaptability. So that's part of it, but also part of what I understand to be is that it would be more accessible to even the larger students by making it ebook. An ebook is a lot more a friendly user in terms of access to students in general, not just students with different learning style or different ability to learn and access material.
So and then this ebook is during project year 1. Are they going to use it through project year 1, 2, and 3? It looks like I'm just curious, is there the same ebook is being used all 3 years and it's just that the money is being fronted up during project year 1?
I believe so, yes.
And then I noticed that the budget for this has $4,000 in travel, which I imagine in 2021 is not being used. So couldn't that travel money be put toward the $5,000 that we need to increase during P1? I mean, why are we spending more if there's not going to be any travel for 2 years of 3 and ostensibly maybe 3 years?
I'll go back and check on that one.
Actually, Kate, the money, there's no additional funds. It's shifting monies out of another account. I believe it's coming out 5,000 from the materials and supplies account to increase the amount paid to David Ada directly. So there's no amendment of the overall budget, just a shift within the cost components.
So, but it was 40 and now it's 45, or it was always 45.
And yes, and they're reducing the material and supply budget by the same amount, by that 5,000. So
that
there's no
ebook
additional
is
resources.
published as often, and so you don't have to. You publish it once and as an ebook that everybody can access, as opposed to multiple copies and that kind of thing. Thank you.
And theoretically, it also will lower the cost of the books to the students when it's an online version versus a hard copy. And I believe online version is going to be much more interactive for the students. So it's a win-win having ebooks.
And those are more easily updated, I would think, as time goes on. Is there, when we get into these contracts with these authors, is there a standard line or boilerplate language that requires whenever they do an update for us to get that? And is there a way to hook that into these contracts going forward? I mean, I think it would behoove us to make sure that we have the most up-to-date copies of whatever we're using and whatever is in the public realm.
I will ask Sue Holdaway. I'm not sure if Sue's on the call. I would think it would be controlled through our bookstore Follett contract, but I don't know the details on Kate. That's a great question. I don't know if Sue is on the call, and if she is, if she could offer any kind of comment. She is not. So we'll get additional information for you, Kate. I don't know the answer. I don't want to say something differently, but it's probably controlled through the contract for providing of textbooks and ebooks through Follett contract, but we'll verify.
Thank you. And I don't mean to hold this up. I just wanted to.
Yeah, no, it's a good question.
Well, I gotta go. So with the ebook, you're saying it's going to be cheaper for students? Because I know from my experience with buying books recently, especially ebooks, the ebooks haven't been cheap. It's like you don't get a physical copy, and I mean, you're online to get access to it, but so some of the ebooks that I've had to purchase have not been cheaper than hardcover books. So I don't know if there's a way to look into that.
Okay, we will. I don't know what the cost of the hard book was, Travis, for this particular version, but we'll get that information as well.
Okay, Kate, if you're satisfied with your question, are there any further questions or comments on the proposed contractual amendment involving David Hatta? If not, I'd look for a motion to approve the proposed contract amendment.
Motion.
Second.
Todd, second. Any further discussion? None. Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
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 And any opposed? All right, well, that amendment is approved. The next item on our agenda is the interim president's report from the March 25th meeting. As you'll recall, Bill typically will give us a rundown of the most significant items. And often he's pressed for time because we've had the meeting run long or whatever. And he typically will then give us a detailed written report, and that's what this is. Are there any comments or questions about the report? Otherwise, we will receive it for our information with our appreciation. Bill, for sending that. Hearing none, we will move on to the Policy and Governance Committee. And I will ask the chair of that committee, Kate Massiello, to give her report, please.
Thank you, Trustee Stone. Before you on page 184 is a nominating policy for rescinding. So we are looking to rescind the academic program review policy that is on the books. While our boilerplate language when we review policies, and we have been going through, as you all know, a very long and extensive process and deep analysis of the board's policies. And when we approve new ones, there is boilerplate language in that says, this policy supersedes all prior policies related to whatever the topic is. But our committee felt that in this case with academic program review, that they wanted to specifically rescind the old policy for clarity's sake, and so that our policy manual will be clean and clear and transparent, and there will be no confusion about which policy is in effect. I can tell you that I've directed those committee members who are in charge of and have submitted various policies to do a thorough review of any outstanding policies that were on the book before to see if we need to rescind any others, and we will come to the board, not in a piecemeal fashion, but with a comprehensive analysis of any that we believe need to be rescinded. But in this case, the committee felt that this one really needed to be done for clarity's sake. So that's why it is before you. And if anybody has any questions, now's the time.
That seems not controversial and appropriate. So not hearing any questions or comments, I'll ask for a motion to approve the rescission of the outdated academic program review policy.
So moved.
So moved.
Thank you, Kate. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Len. Any further discussion? Then all in favor, please say aye.
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 And any opposed? That is passed. The policy is rescinded. Thank you. You have the minutes there, Kate. Do you want to talk about that, or is that simply for information?
It's just for information. It also talks about our desire to go through this more comprehensive approach.
Okay. Well, I never want to miss a chance to thank Trustee Massiello and all those involved in the Policy and Governance Committee. This is hard spade work. It's very important when you run a large public institution. Having appropriate policies that have been carefully thought out is a very important thing, and we appreciate the hard work that goes on.
Well, can I just say, it's a total team effort, and I appreciate that. And one member of our team is leaving us, Dean Jamie Smith, who has decided to take a position at Roswell Park as their Chief Academic Officer. And Jamie has contributed so much to our committee and so much to Suny Erie. And I just wanted to specifically thank her for all her hard work.
Congratulations, Jamie. Thank you for your work.
Thank you, and thank you so much, Kate. Kate, can I also say there's another member of our team that's leaving, and which is Dan Kaufman. He's also on the policy. Dan is also leaving us on May 5th, and he is on the call as well. If you want to say any words, Dan.
Thank you, everybody, but I am headed down to Virginia following my girlfriend, so I'm not out of anything with ECC, but other personal things. But the 3 years moved very fast here, and I will miss everyone, and it's been great.
Thank you so much.
You'll be missed.
Yeah, and not to cut you off, Jamie, if you wanted to say a few words as well.
No, I just really appreciated working with this board, specifically Kate and Denise and Student Swartz. I've learned a great deal that I will be taking forward in my career. Thank you.
We're going to miss both of you.
For sure.
Yes, Jamie and Dan, on behalf of the entire college community, thank you for your service here, and best of luck in Virginia, and for both of your work on the committee. I know Jamie will be staying in our community and serving at Roswell. That's exciting. My daughter's a cancer researcher, so I have a soft spot for Roswell Park for sure, as we all do. All right.
If I could say, Jeff.
Yeah.
If I could just interrupt, I hate to correct Kate, but Jamie is an associate vice president of academic affairs. So I want to make sure the minutes properly reflect her title. And in Dan's case, the good news is the college he's going to down in Virginia is Northern Virginia Community College, otherwise known as the First Ladies College. So Dan has assured us that boatloads of federal funds will be forthcoming to Suny Erie, and we will track him down if it doesn't materialize. But
Thanks,
I really appreciate. I did not know Dan before I came back. I've had some dealings with Jamie, always great dealings coming back as interim president, but these are both huge losses to the institution, but it's great opportunities for both of them. So I wish them, on behalf of the entire college, only the very, very best.
And we're going to get your private cell phone numbers before you two leave. I realize you're turning in your ECC phones.
Yeah. Also, as former board chair, I just want to also send my best wishes to Jamie and Dan. I think both have been invaluable to the progress we've made, particularly over the last year, and for all your efforts. We wish you the best.
Very well. And best of luck to both. And we will go ahead and move on to not the report of the chairwoman, because Denise, of course, has left the meeting at least for a while. With the thought that she may return at some point to our meeting, I'd like to move, hopefully not surprising Travis too much here, to his report. If he could speak to us as the student trustee, with Colleen on deck from the college, with the College Senate report. We'll go through some of our other items, and then if Denise circles back with us, we'll hear from her. So, Travis?
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, the only thing I really wanted to kind of highlight today, I know it's the end of the semester for a lot of students. We're going through finals. And, you know, talking about the year being a tough year for everyone. I know as we go into the summer, we just had a big meeting with Suny yesterday about on-person classes and what we're going to look like in the fall. So I just wanted to bring up that talking with some of the other students from other colleges and obviously talking with Suny, when we start going into the planning process of the upcoming fall semester, I just want to highlight again that student mental health when planning some of the things that coming into the fall semester, such as like academic calendars and how we're planning to look at the fall. I want to keep that highlighted because some of the comments that were made, you know, I know student safety, faculty safety, and everyone that's on campus is obviously very important. But I think sometimes, you know, how the stress of the year and stress of academics and the pressure of like people's outside lives come into play, and sometimes that's not kept at the top of the mind when, you know, for instance, like when spring breaks were canceled by Suny. I know that that was for the safety of students, but you know, I know it kind of weighed on a lot of students because they use that time to, you know, catch up on work and their lives, and it created even more stress for a lot of students. So, you know, anything that we can do when we're going into the summer and planning for fall, you know, I know everyone keeps students on top of their mind, but you know, kind of considering some of the stressors that come into play, that can be considered when making decisions going into the next few months.
Travis, to your point, I wish I had a lot of redos, but you can't go back in time. One of the big redos would have been bringing you and student government into the conversation about the academic calendar. You mentioned about we had to cancel the breaks, and one of the student forums, somebody mentioned about students could have still used a day or two throughout the semester sort of to, you know, recharge, get their mental health. And, you know, it's tough learning in the environment you're learning in. So if I had to redo, we wouldn't be having graduation next Wednesday. We would have extended it closer to our original date and given more time throughout the semester for a day here off or there off. Again, if I had to redo it. So I hope the next president, if we have to pivot for fall or some future semester, you have a voice and you're part of that discussion. And I apologize for not bringing you and student government as part of that conversation.
Okay, thoughtful comment. Thanks, Travis and Bill for your response there. Len, I will come back and ask you to talk about the ad hoc committee on presidential search, but I'd like to go to Colleen next, because if Denise does circle back, I'd like her to be in the mix for that discussion about the search. But let's go, if we could please, to our friend Colleen Quinn. Professor Quinn, on behalf of the College Senate, please.
Hi, good morning, everybody. And then I just want to start with Travis, your point with student mental health and extra days how they would be helpful. We've been encouraging faculty and staff to make assignments a little bit longer than what it would normally be a regular due date, so that students can kind of pick a day off, if you will, so they can catch up on things. And as well as we're constantly working with our faculty and staff to find OER materials, which is our open resources, which are free textbooks for our students. And we're continuing to push those through our general education programs and liberal arts to also help our students, because I understand your point about some of the online materials being just as or more expensive than a hardcover book. So that's something that we're still continually working on and working with our faculty and staff to make life easier for our students, because you guys are the reasons we're here, right? You're our bread and butter, and we want to serve you. So with that, College Senate met in April. We got reports from Phil about what's going on with the future. We talked about budgets, and we talked about COVID-19 and what our plans are moving forward through the summer, and waiting to hear what Suny's directive is going to be for the fall semester. Some of the other things that we shared was that enrollment for the fall is everyone's job. So we've been doing a push to include enrollment and advisement directions in our Blackboard courses to help our students. We've been encouraging our advisors to email their students on a weekly basis to try to get them registered for the fall or even the summer. I know myself, as well as many others, are offering extra credit for students if they send us a screenshot of their schedule. And with that, some students are graduating, so a screenshot of a graduation application, or some students, you know, their last course is for the summer, so I've been accepting credit for a summer shot, or for transferring students a copy of their fall schedule at whatever their transfer institution is. So there's been lots of different things that we've been working with our students on all different fronts to help our students. Another aspect that the College Senate is working with our enrollment team, and we're working, we have 3 faculty members, myself, Patty Kaiser, and Dave Uzinski. Patty's in social science, Dave is in math, and we're working with our enrollment and recruitment to get more advanced studies courses offered with Buffalo Public Schools. We've been working with Adium's team with that specifically. We have 4 recruitment meetings tomorrow to talk with different departments. We have health sciences, a couple of the liberal arts, and a third one, but we've already met with some humanities, we've met with business and public service, and very exciting stuff to move forward and get our advanced studies opportunities out there, and especially in the Buffalo Public Schools. We were able to successfully move our general education and college-wide curriculum committee underneath the Senate, outside of where they were originally, which was in the GAP structure, which is our governance and planning structure. And this is not a functionality change at all. It's just to make it more in line with other SUNY institutions with governance, that committees with academics come up through governance and through their governance body. So we're just trying to make sure we're on track like everybody else. And then with some of our initiatives moving forward, I know Kate, last time we were at the policy meeting, we were discussing our student Bill of Rights, and that has been, that's moved forward. That's going to be talked about in labor management moving forward. So we did get some traction on that as well.
Thank you.
College Senate will be meeting on May 11th, which is the day before grades are due. And it's, you know, it's crunch time for everyone, and for our students, for our faculty and our staff. And we're just, you know, constantly encouraging everybody to, you know, have some grace, have some patience. We're almost there. And pretty soon we'll get to breathe a little bit easier for a few weeks till summer starts, of course. Thank you.
Thank you, Colleen. Appreciate that. And just a word, I know most of you are aware of this, but the College Senate meetings are available online, and I found it useful as a trustee to just at least tune in and listen. You get a slightly different vibe than you do at a trustees meeting because the audience is different and you hear a little bit more down in the weeds what people are thinking about. So I think it's good practice for certainly all of us as trustees, but also others on the call who are engaged in the community to the extent you don't regularly do that, to consider tuning in for at least part of the Senate meetings. You always hear a good report from Colleen and from the Interim President Bill, and some interesting questions come out of the audience that I find very helpful. So especially when it comes to our faculty. Speaking of our faculty, I don't think that I saw our bargaining unit leaders, President Andy Sacco and Maureen Doyle, on the call. But if I am wrong, I would like to hear from either or both of those folks.
No, Jeff, they had emailed us earlier in the week that both of them were not available today. So I emailed you a short while ago. They had communicated directly to the chairwoman, but I emailed you, but so they will not be on the call today.
That's fine. I didn't see them on. I just didn't know if they were tuned in some other way. All right.
Oh, and Trustee Stone, if I forgot one thing, Interim President Reuter announced it yesterday in his open forum, but we did have 2 Chancellor Award winners from our faculty, and one is Dave Uzinski of the Math Department. He is a magical human being. He's amazing with our department and with all of the student forward initiatives, and he's just a gem in our math department down at the city campus. And then we also had Stephanie Schwarmach, who is pretty much keeps all of our natural sciences together. She does all the little nitty gritty things to help support our science department. And so she also has earned a Chancellor's Award. So we have 2 SUNY Chancellor's Awards winners that were announced yesterday afternoon. So congratulations to them. Yeah.
That'll be noted at graduation in whatever form we can do it. So.
Yes, Dave was for Chancellor's Award for Excellence in Teaching, and Stephanie's was for Excellence in Professional Service. So I did recognize them both yesterday, part of my open forum.
It was good to see that recognition coming to our folks. Colleen, in the math department too, that's good. And that's supposed to be about it. Let's see. Per my comment earlier, let's go to the report of the interim president and ask Bill for his comments. Bill, I didn't see it necessarily on the list of agenda items under your heading there, but a word or two I think would be appropriate just on where we stand with the middle states process. I know Fabio's on the line. So if that were not already included in your report, if you could mix that in, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. Actually, I'll go to Fabio first, Jeff, because I have everything sequenced on my report and I don't want to lose my flow. So I'll ask Fabio to give a quick update.
Can we start this as 11.A, Bill?
Yes.
I think, yeah. So first, let me give just a brief overview of the process. You all know, I think, most of this, but just in case anybody on the call wants to refresh, we are in the middle of our self-study. It's approximately a 2-year-long process, which began in October 2019 when the provost and I attended the Self-Study Institute in Philadelphia. That institute kicked off the process of building a strategic steering committee for a 7-group that coordinated 7 distinct groups. Each group was focused on a single standard among the 7 middle state standards. And we are now at the point of building, after all of that work, of building full drafts, deploying, distributing those drafts to stakeholders, getting comments back from those stakeholders, and incorporating those into the next draft, which would come out in the span of the next week, week and a half. So we are right at the point of deploying our second full draft at this stage. We think we have a pretty good set of chapters. The next step after that will be to deliver that draft. It will still be in draft status to the peer review committee's chairperson, who is a CUNY president, and that individual will then distribute the draft back to us with some comments, and we will finalize for the full review committee after that. That final draft is due in August, and subsequent to that, we will have approximately a 6-week interim period between the delivery of the draft and the actual visit, the virtual visit in late September. That visit is scheduled for, let me confirm, I believe it is the last week of September, the Sunday through Wednesday of that last weekend. But I will confirm that date and get that on everybody's calendar on this call. I believe we have it on the president's calendar. I don't know if we're building a tentative calendar, but I know that the president's office is aware of the need to obviously mark those dates. Any questions, Chairman, Vice Chairman, or any of the members?
I had one question, and really it's in the form of a suggestion for perhaps the meeting a month from now, because we're entering the budget process here. I'm thinking about this. And when it comes to middle states, I have in my mind the notion of them taking a look at us through this elaborate process that we've come to know. And I'm thinking about our financial situation, the hit to the reserve fund that I talked about, the overall enrollment issues, but particularly just anything involving our finances. And while we manage those on a daily, monthly, weekly, yearly basis, this could have an effect on how we are viewed in terms of our accreditation as part of this process. And while that's too big of a subject probably to discuss now in a significant way, I think a month from now, if you and Bill could put your heads together in the interim and focus on that question, how will our financial posture, however we define that right now, but generally negative, affect the process that you're overseeing, Fabio, and the possible outcomes there? So I will stop there, and it's subject to the thoughts of other trustees, whether they like that idea or want something different. But that's the thought I have and the request I would make in response to what you said there.
Sounds like an excellent idea, Trustee Stone. What I would perhaps recommend is that we manage that through budget and audit, perhaps, if that's okay with you and the president. I suggest that because I think you can have a pretty robust conversation there about the posture that we are, the posture and how we're describing the posture, right? Because I think both of those will be relevant to the report and to the visit itself. We also probably can discuss at budget and audit a little bit of the transition work. Assuming we do have a new president at that time, how will we prep the president for for that important conversation? And assuming, and I don't want to leap too far ahead, and some of these issues are obviously at the board's level, but assuming we do not have a separate CFO at the time, then how will that play into that conversation as well? I think those are sort of key items that are kind of worthy of discussion, and I'd welcome that very much.
Yeah, I think you and Bill can think through how to frame it, where to present it best, whether it's committee of the whole. We technically are meeting as a committee of the whole and not as a separate budget and audit, but special meeting is always appropriate as well. I just want some focus on this in the context of the middle states process so that we can gain a sense of how much at risk we would be under that process given our financial state.
Yeah, I think
I wouldn't call it the elephant in the room because we talk about it every meeting, but it is a big factor that we're dealing with, and I haven't fully gotten my mind around the effect it could have on our middle states process.
Yeah, in short, very brief overview, I would suggest that the focus be on both the financial posture of the institution and on its financial controls. Those are both, they're slightly separate issues within the context of the middle state standards, but they're both playing together, right? That the extent to which we have control over our finances is also the relevant to the current situation we find ourselves in, relative to the higher ed community, to the single-use funding sources, et cetera. Those do also, those are obviously part of the big financial picture but we also have to take care that we are addressing the issue of financial controls in our management letters, and that is getting tied back to that standard 6 and standard 7 work. But yeah, I can certainly huddle up with Bill and get that going. I think that would be meaningful.
I think in the next 30 days, that's a worthy subject. Do any of my fellow trustees wish to comment on this or amend my suggestion or react to anything Fabio has said? Or Bill, do you want to?
I just, the initial draft I looked through, that was pre-audit presentation last month, closing our books for last year. So those 2 chapters really need a rewrite based upon the most recent data. That all the financial area will be, we have to state what the facts are at the point of time of writing the chapter, but it is such a fluid situation right now with, the state budget and the federal stimulus, and now the announcement by the president last night. It could change from 0 to 180 by the time the actual visit, but we need to rewrite the chapters based upon what we know today.
Yeah, I just wanted to push it forward on the table a little bit. Fellow trustees, any comments?
I'm good.
I'm going to take silence as assent on that, and we'll revisit this at our next committee of the whole and full board meeting. All right, thank you, and thanks, Fabio. I think now is the best time for the interim president's report. And then, Len, we will circle back on the search after Bill is done.
Sure.
Thank you, Jeff. I'll try to highlight some of the items. You heard Colleen Quinn mention the initiatives with enrollment, the enrollment management, and all the different groups that are meeting. We have between April 13th and I believe June 23rd, 25 different enrollment-focused events. Most are virtual. We had our virtual open house last weekend. So we are doing a lot. We're not only, working with Buffalo Public Schools, but we're also working with BOCES 1, and we have a meeting with BOCES 2. We have launched a cannabis course that's part of a cannabis track within our biotechnology program, and we'll be getting press out on that because we will offer it starting summer 2. Great numbers coming out of middle early college that Katrina reported. We actually had 39 middle early college seniors that chose ECC on their applications, and we had 12 that have already completed their financial aid form, their FAFSA, which is very good news. I'm going to actually ask, before I talk summer enrollment, I'm going to ask Adiyam Sagai, our Associate Vice President in Academics, to talk about 2 items. One, the board just approved a program with the Charter School of Applied Technology. It's an exciting initiative, but I think Adiyam could add a little context, as well as the Northland Apprenticeship Program. If you wouldn't mind, Adiyam, could you give a brief overview on both?
Absolutely, sure. The Charter School for Applied Technology, I think Colleen mentioned, it is really our arching focus on the whole idea of advanced study, but really working with the K-12, right? And it's beyond just the Buffalo Public Schools. So the Charter School, we've been working with them for about, I want to say probably a month and a half through the advanced study with Cheryl Duquette. About the possibility. So they are really pushing forward for early path to career, and those careers are really manufacturing as well as health as well as art and communication. This is a partnership that they have with Buffalo State as well. But on the Suny area, we've been working with them. So we have advanced studies in manufacturing, particularly in the computer repair as well as mechatronics. And then we have the health pack in the medical assistant. We have advanced studies agreement with them already. We've been meeting with their faculty. Our chairs have been meeting with them. So we're very excited about it. And the number of students that they're talking about are very significant. Around 178 is the cohort that's starting in this pathway. And the idea is that for the students to pick a pathway and eventually come to our campus to take, some of the courses in the program area. We're also working on the general education. So they all are taking our English 100. So that's very exciting to have our faculty be at the charter school. As you know, a lot of the charter schools are very data driven. They're all about number and graduation. So they're very focused from their principal to their teachers. They're very dedicated, and their model really works with what we're trying to do. The other exciting thing about this initiative with the charter school is that they're also working with the industry. I know, Kate, earlier you mentioned about how do we continue to cultivate our relationship with the industry. So they're working with Tesla. We're working with Tesla. They're working with West Hurt. We have a very strong partnership with West Hurt, as you know. They're working with M&T. So part of what they're doing is exactly what we're doing, but just to think about starting that at an earlier stage, and that we're continuing that whole initiative to our school. So the idea is to expand that program offering. One of the areas that I'm really working hard with them is on the NANO program that we have. How do we build that relationship to really build our NANO program? So we're very excited about it. You know, the enrollment team is part of that discussion as well, so that we're in there. It's not just on the academic side, but we also know that it's important that we have our enrollment team be part of that, as we make sure that the students are really, you know, choosing our college and staying with us. So that's our, the Charter for Technology. Any questions on that one?
Let me just add two things. One is, I went online this morning because I honestly didn't know too much about it. And I thought it was just a Buffalo Public Schools initiative. I was very surprised. It started as a K through 6 charter school and now has blossomed to K through 12, and it actually 19 different school districts are represented. So it's not just Buffalo Public Schools, and there's 2,300 students enrolled in CSTAT. And one of the interesting background information that ADIM sent me last evening was they claim a 97% graduation rate, which is unheard of. But they also noted that they find that their students struggle to meet post-secondary rigor. So they're seeing quite a few drop out after the first year of attending college. So this whole program is to try to make those students or help them persist and then get retained to that second year. So it's a wonderful program, and ADIM and the academic leadership deserves a lot, and enrollment management, and a lot of people are involved in this, but thank you.
Absolutely. And I think just to add to that, by having our faculty meet with their faculty, right, we are going to meet that rigor standards that our students need in order for them to come to our college and then continue to other colleges as well after they graduate from our school. So very excited about that. And then the second part is our you know, our Northland, right? So one of the things that we've really been focusing on is that how do we expand our footprint at Northland, right? And so we have been in discussion, I think it's about almost 6 months now, about offering our mechanical associate program at Northland. So we got it to a point where we will be offering that in the fall of 2021. And this is a partnership with apprenticeship kind of concept. Not quite there yet, because the true apprenticeship has a little bit different formula, but similar to apprenticeship, it's work to earn is the concept. We did not change the curriculum. We just used the path for career is what the path that we're using. So we have the mechanical program at North. It's similar program, but this is more focused on career path. The idea here is that now I just want to emphasize this is a pilot that we're doing with Northland. So it's a little bit different again than apprenticeship, but our students are going to be working. So right now, as a matter of fact, Northland is having a hiring event where companies are at Northland right now hiring some of our students, but also really working with Northland to identify companies that will be sponsoring our students. So our goal for this program at Northland is about 20 students for the fall. And the idea is that these students will be sponsored by industry to participate in the program. The other really nice thing about what we're doing with this as a pilot is that we have what we call Jumpstart. So the idea is that for our potential students to participate in a 2-week program before starting the actual coursework in September. So these students are going to be enrolled in the Jumpstart program in August. and that will include math, the OSHA training, forklift, really just to give students an idea about how that manufacturing kind of concept will look like. And these students, Northland was able to get some funding that our students will be, the prospective students will be able to get $500 as a stipend for attending the Jumpstart program. Again, it's all with the intention commitment. It's all with the intention that we want to make sure that our students are successful. Part of the Jumpstart program will include our math RISE program that we offer at SUNY Erie. We want to make sure that our students are prepared. As we know, the mechanical program is heavy on the math side. We want to make sure that our prospective students are well prepared to be able to be successful in the math course in their first semester. Very excited about it. It's a 7.5 concept model that we've been doing with mechatronic. We want to do the same thing here. This is just a 2-year, so we're very excited about the opportunity to have this program launch at Northland. So again, similar concept. I can't emphasize, it's the idea, how do we combine education with work, with industry and community, and how do we do that? And this is one of the examples that I think will lead us to that. So pilot will collect data on this effort, and hopefully we can mimic other programs either at Northland or at our campus, or perhaps at other sites in the different industries that we have in the area. Any questions on that one?
Whew, you talk faster than me, Adium.
I know, I want to be sensitive to the time.
Yeah, I think it's Jeff Stone. I just would say that yesterday when we had our call with Mark and others at the foundation, Christopher, they went out of their way to mention the engagement that you are having with them in these areas. So just wanted you to know that and everyone to know that.
I can't imagine that we have money and that our students are not taking advantage of that. So when I was told, and we had a webinar with Patrick Lee himself out of Florida, and all he kept saying is that I have a lot of money and I need your students to apply. What is going on? I want to give you money. So I took that to heart, and I told him, and I actually did promise to him that we will use all of his money. We will make sure that we have students apply for that. So I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited to make sure that our students participate in that. So I'm very excited about it.
That's a fruitful collaboration that you're working on with the foundation. It goes to Kate's comment earlier when she was introducing herself about how important it is to really constantly push that connection between those who need our students and we who are producing them.
Absolutely.
Adim, on the Patrick Lee comment you just made, one of the several emails you sent me on this program, the Learn to Earn, you said, on another note, I'm trying to secure funds to provide stipends to students who complete the 2-week prerequisite we are calling Jumpstart. Is there any connection that we can do with Patrick Lee for that?
Absolutely. The Northland team, directed by Stephen Tucker, I think he was able to get some funding, but absolutely we can make that connection. Mechatronic and the mechanical is two of those programs that I would like to present to the Patrick Lee Foundation. So I think that's one of the things that Chris is going to arrange so that we could introduce the program to them and the concept and where the program is being offered.
Can I ask you, given the Patrick Lee Foundation's focus on mental health, is there a way to tie mental health services? I think that would enhance our ability to, match their particular interests. And I imagine that we have students who have mental health issues, and if there's some way to tie services to this program, maybe they want to support people, but I know that that's the focus of the Patrick Lee Foundation. So if there's, and Jane McGavro, who's the executive director there, maybe to be in touch with her as to how we might expand or focus on those students, and they could kind of adopt those students. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So there's a way, that's what they're particularly interested in. If we can align with that, I think it would enhance our chances to get even more money.
Absolutely. We'll look into it more.
Thanks, Adim. I appreciate it. A couple other enrollment, based upon our meeting, the committee of the whole meeting, when we talked about our high school demographics and our big high schools, the number of students that are dropping and going to other institutions. Paula Sandy came up with an innovative marketing concept about doing something called geofencing, where we're going to target students and parents of those students around some of our largest high schools where we've lost student enrollment. And it's some direct, as soon as a student goes online, goes on their cell phone, they'll get an ECC ad. So we're looking to do this geofencing, each with a slightly different message, but the theme for the parents is really stay home, stay safe, and more affordable education. Students, it's more about the choices of programs, and she'll be able to monitor what kind of response we get on that. Yesterday's open forum I had, a fact member reached out to me about, all right, the Toronto Blue Jays are going to be playing here. We believe, why not set up a recruitment table right on our sidewalk outside our campus? Again, a great idea. Jeff Stone mentioned his connections with public schools, so I've already emailed Jeff and Phil Struble to see if there's a way to use Jeff's connection to get more in some of those K through 12 schools. So we, as Colleen said, the enrollment is for all of us. Bob, can you pull up some enrollment? Some slight good news on the enrollment front. In spring, we're down 18% spring to spring, but we are seeing some positivity out of our summer enrollment. It's kind of a small print, but you can see left to right is summer 19, summer 20, and summer 21. So we are trending up over last summer, which is the first summer of the pandemic COVID. We are up to over 10% from last year. It's still early in the enrollment cycle. Summer classes don't start until May 24th, but this is a measurement of same point in time, same how many days prior to the start of summer last year versus this year. And interestingly, if you go down, Bob, just slightly on that chart, the lower right-hand bar graphs represent part-time enrollment and full-time enrollment. So part-time enrollment, if a student is taking less than 12 credits per year, they're considered a part-time. 12 or more, they're considered a full-time. We're seeing a dramatic shift in the percent of students that are going full-time during the summer. It's now 8.21% of our total summer enrollment. So I'm suspecting that students that may have stepped out of higher ed for a year or a semester are starting to realize they need to have that higher education. They need to get their degree. So we're seeing more students coming on a full-time basis during our 2 summer sessions. Again, they could take 6 credits in the first summer session, 6 credits in the next summer session. Again, early on, but at least I guess if there's any positivity on our enrollment, this would be a good first sign.
And I think that's where that
enrollment?
geo focus would enhance it even more. I mean, I'm thinking of parents who, are realizing that, it's affordable, they're home. I mean, I would think it would increase even more.
I would think so. We are in a very, very competitive marketplace, but getting the message out, and again, Paula is doing a great job transitioning us from the paper handouts to that the media-driven online, where we can reach a much broader audience at a much more affordable rate, and that's what our students, especially in the pandemic, they're online 24/7. So why not try to reach out to them online? So it's we will keep the board apprised of that specific marketing effort, but again, we'll continue keeping you up to date on enrollment. We are also working. That's one of the big items that we have to put together for our budget. Is what will fall 21 look like? We don't know at this point in time. So that's a work in progress. I'll shift quickly to COVID-19. We continue to do pool testing. Our positivity rate is 0.299%. So I started thinking last night as I couldn't sleep. So baseball analogy, 0.299% means a batter would get one hit every 300 at-bats. We have a great process here. We have a great staff, Amy, Mark, all the testers. They are doing a phenomenal job keeping the college community safe. So since we started this spring semester, almost 13,000 students, faculty, staff have been tested, and there's only been 38 positive individuals coming out of that pool testing, which is phenomenal. We continue to be the #1 community college in the state of New York. We have vaccinated, not we, the county, but that partnership with the county, we have vaccinated over 62,000 individuals as of the close of business yesterday. Far and away the #1 community college as far as vaccinations dispensed on their campus. And Mark Petrolik this morning reported that the county first vaccination rate is at 47%, and fully vaccinated is 34.5%. And the guidance that we're seeing and hearing is herd immunity is reached when there's an 80% vaccination rate. So the community has a long way to go, but we're certainly moving in the right direction. We are seeing a large drop off of the first vaccinations. We're still seeing quite a bit as far as second vaccines, but we have walk-in activity every day basically at the college, both South and North Campus. And again, no idea is a bad idea. Again, Mark updates me and Amy on a daily basis where we are. And this Saturday at South and North Campus, the county is sponsoring a Prom Day, meaning all attendees of Prom 16 and over can go and get vaccinated. So what did I think of? I reach out to Phil. Phil, can we get a recruitment table? These are 16-year-olds. This is prime market for us. So we're Mark already reached out to the county. No problem. We can set up tables. So we'll be in front of those future potential students hopefully this weekend as they're going to get their vaccination. Continue with our Campus Clear app. We have to date 5,600 students, staff, and faculty that are signed up. And every morning I wake up, I do my app, and I just have to show it as I walk through security. I'm not sure, Travis, if that was covered by Suny, but it's still up in the air. What kind of testing, what kind of identification we're going to have to do in the fall. Right now, summer is going to look a lot like spring. As far as courses, most will be online. We are planning being in person for the most part for the fall. We just don't know what we'll have to do as far as pool testing. Right now, even if you're vaccinated, we still are requiring you to wear your mask, keep to 6 feet social distance, and make sure you continue to get pool tests. So that's the guidance right now. As far as some updates college-wide, has been mentioned a couple times. We had an open forum yesterday, and I was sort of taken aback by the number of people that logged on to listen. I tried to give some updates to the college community, and we actually had 251 people that tuned in to the open forum, 247 faculty and staff, and then the other 4 was Bob, myself, Paula Sandy, and our chairwoman listened in too. So it was nice. I unfortunately delivered some factual news as far as our enrollment, our financial challenges, what's going on with Suny. I updated on the presidential search, talked about our academic programs, our services that we provided all 3 campuses, the need to rethink who we are, what we are, where we are. I've gotten some questions ahead of time. I got some questions during, and I've gotten some comments and questions after the fact, but I will continue to keep the college updated on as we progress in this pandemic and the future of the college. We have been taping spots for commencement, which is virtual next Wednesday. Again, shout out to Paula orchestrating all the virtual events. She has gotten the words from the Lieutenant Governor, Kathy Hochul, the Chancellor, Jim Malatras, and the county executive. Denise will be sort of chairing the event, and then so she'll give remarks, and I provided some remarks as well. So that will be next Wednesday evening. Pardon? Pardon me? Thursday. I'm sorry. Next Thursday evening, 1 week from tonight. My bad. Thanks, Bob. As far as athletics, Steve did an update last meeting. I have 2 additional updates for this meeting. Our baseball coach did achieve his 1,000th career win. He's second in the country as far as active wins for a baseball coach. So I reached out to Joe Bouth. There was an article in the Buffalo News. And then also our swimming and diving team right now is in the Athletic Association Championships in Florida. We hosted Women's History Month event, and legislator April Baskin was our keynote speaker. Our introduction was provided by Chairwoman Wilson, and I never heard the entire story of Denise's background as far as her challenges and living on food stamps, and pretty emotional point was when she actually showed the coffee cup that remains on her desk, her daughter's picture, and the fact that she has the last food stamp that she ever got in that cup to remind her where she came from. So it was a compelling event. I've done a couple interviews with BFO, BLK, and actually just late yesterday afternoon, Paula, thanks for the late notice, but Channel 2 and 4 had me on tape talking about the federal monies that the president was speaking about last night. And I'll go back to that in a moment. And then we've received formal notification from our nursing accreditation that we are granted full reaccreditation. Patty Lucido, great job as always. We are still working with Scott Irmer on trying to assess the cost of our workday. We're getting very close. He sent me some information last night that I did not get a chance to look at. We talked about the foundation. We've had multiple meetings with them. On the county side, I continue to have my meeting with the county executive. We submitted a capital project request the day after the day of the committee of the whole meeting. And that is a $6 million capital project request for phase 1 of facility master plan. I was on with the Erie County Legislature committee talking about the consulting agreement that the board had previously approved with Marcia Burmell, and they approved it unanimously at the committee. And then an item that the board and the legislature had previously approved, a Cisco installment purchase, all of a sudden caught the eye of the county. So we've been on, Scott Irmer and I have been on several calls with the county attorney's office, special counsel Jeff Switek, to figure out how the county/college can finance this installment purchase. And through Scott Irmer's hard work, we believe we may be able to go in a slightly different direction, call it a lease that takes away a lot of the angst that the county had with the transaction, but we continue to work on that. Shifting to the federal, and Jeff, I'm sure you may offer some additional remarks. So there's two tracks where that are very encouraging for us. Last week, Friday, we were on the call with all the community college presidents about a $12 billion infrastructure bill that is in part of President Biden's $2 trillion infrastructure plan, and it's looking at updating fiscal and technical infrastructure at community colleges. And the ask by all the community colleges was to put together not necessarily a wish list, it's all your deferred maintenance projects, and include wish list items. So over the weekend, taking some information from JMZ, working with Jane Stark, we did submit a $270 million ask that Suny will be compiling and submitting it as one community college Suny request. And the feedback I got from Randy Van Wagner, president for Mohawk Valley Community College, who's sort of put all 30 requests together, was it was in line with what other colleges were putting forth. Again, it's early on in the process, but if we're not in it, we don't have any opportunity. As was mentioned, a couple of the proposals from the president that were spoken to in some form last night is what I called game changer to Channel 2 and 4 when I was interviewed yesterday afternoon. What he has proposed, the president has proposed, would change the entire landscape of the community college system in the country. Just the ability of our students to go and, sometimes the devil is in the detail. Is it just tuition? Is it for all college living expenses? Will New York State opt in? Because we have the Excelsior Scholarship Program already. But the level of excitement that would provide us to get away from this volume-based model of funding from the state would just be amazing. So it offers a lot of potential, a lot of excitement. Talked about increasing the level of Pell by $1,400. Scott Welcher from our financial aid office was able to drill down into our numbers. I had asked them to start looking at it when we're considering a tuition increase, and he indicated that 62% of our full-time students that receive Pell are at the maximum Pell. So that $1,400 certainly would come into play for those students, as well as students that are not at the maximum amount. And then there's also monies that are being talked about to provide those wraparound services. And those wraparound services we have for special cohorts, but we don't necessarily have it for the entire college community. So it's all good news for us. One of the reporters asked me a very pointed question. Will this create competition for the four-year schools? Will this be bad for the four-year schools? And, on the surface, it's a win-win for community colleges. I know there's going to be a lot of pushback because there's a lot of sectors in higher education, publics, privates, 2-year, 4 years, online schools. But right now, I'm very optimistic. 80% of our revenues come from based upon enrollment. So this is all good, positive news for us.
Pillow talk helps too.
Pardon me?
Pillow talk helps too.
Yeah, right. Yes.
Can't beat that.
That's why I emphasize Dan going to Northern Virginia Community College, right? And you did remind me, I mentioned all our speakers that we pre-recorded. Thank you, Len and Jeff and everyone else. We did reach out through Congressman Higgins' office about seeing if we can get some remarks from the First Lady. Nothing has been secured to date, but we still continue to work on that. And let me just shift back to the county updates for one moment. I have reached out to the county budget office as well. They reached out to the legislature. They are agreeable to provide for an extension to our budget submission. I explained to them with all the new news about the state budget and the federal stimulus and trying to restore our fund balance. So they've given us to submit our approved budget commensurate with our May board meeting, which is May 24th. We will have a robust discussion of our draft budget at our committee of the whole. And if the committee at that point feels like they want to meet again, but we are working on putting that together. There are moving parts. Enrollment, I mentioned. Personnel. Workday is not as magical as one would believe in providing projections on personnel. So George DeRosa is feverishly working on helping me with those projections. We're looking at our workday spend, looking at when we could get off colleague as far as that spend. We're looking at our contractual services. So there's a lot of work still to do, but we will have a draft budget before the committee of the whole when we meet 2 weeks prior to the board meeting. And I also was bold to see if the county could provide some additional subsidy to us. And I reminded the budget office of my request yesterday. I have not heard back from them, but I will continue to press that issue as well. Paula attended a community college and marketing leaders meeting SUNY is going to initiate another global campaign. They did a campaign for us for the community college sector last year. They're going to redo that this coming year. We continue to participate in the Western New York Regional Presidents Meeting. Yesterday's meeting, it's the Finger Lakes, Genesee, Niagara, myself, Monroe, and Jamestown, and we got to meet the new Monroe County Community College president. She was on the call yesterday. She will be taking over as permanent president the day after graduation, and we are actually meeting in person tomorrow at Genesee Community College, and I will be getting a tour of their field house, which is something I would love to be able to replicate on one of our campus locations. That was a $14 million project. And of course, I included a commensurate project in the request for the federal dollars. Some of the meetings, Adium, myself have been meeting with Buffalo Construction Consultants, and why that is important. They are the, sort of the on-site construction team for Douglas Development, Jamel Development. As you know, Jamel Development, Douglas Development, 100 Seneca Street, the police headquarters, Statler Towers, the Hyatt, and they've talked about the train terminal. We are trying to build, with Andy Sacco's assistance, try to build some kind of co-op, some kind of internship for our students to be on those construction sites. So we're hoping to get a meeting with them. When I was on the tour of 100 Seneca, the Tuesday, I did get a chance to meet with the Douglas Development project manager just very, very briefly, because I knew he was an ECC graduate, so I made that connection, and I reminded him that we're trying to get our students there, and hopefully we'll get a meeting with Buffalo Construction Consultants very soon. Also at that same meeting, I did connect with the town supervisor from Amherst. He spoke to me about possibly leasing some land at North Campus for athletic fields. His town is in a crunch. I said, absolutely, we'd be more than open to that. And we also talked to him about if there's ever an opportunity for a field house, as well as some other potential projects that we can partner with the town. We are a very big footprint in the town. He's including us in their economic development report that will be forthcoming. And he reminded me that they are looking at a traffic study, that there's quite possibly going to be an exit off the thruway right onto Worley or Young Road. So that would certainly open up a lot of possibilities for traffic flow past our campus. If you recall, back in December of 19, when JMZ released like that preliminary facility master plan, sort of those big concepts, one of the items on there was South Campus sort of going away, and/or the Vehicle Tech Training Center going away, and all of it moving to McKinley Mall. Well, I wanted to see if that was possible, so we actually we were able to get into McKinley Mall. We actually did a tour of the Sears Automotive, which was the targeted location for the Vehicle Tech Training Center. Joe Urick, our department chair, who's awesome job, Vehicle Tech Training Center, so proactive and creative. Him and his team from that program went through, and quite honestly, the facility is smaller than we currently have at our Vehicle Tech Training Center. It could not accommodate our existing program, no less accommodate an expanded program, but I think it was necessary to put that possibility to rest, which we did. The rest of the mall, that day, bids were due to be sold. I'm not sure the outcome. I've reached out to the project manager, have not heard back, but that whole mall, other than the Macy's building, was in bankruptcy and was being sold. I don't know where it stands right now. We've had a couple of events with our moms program. Katrina continues to be a rock star, making those connections. We had West New York Women's Foundation virtual event that was attended by many, many people at the college. And then we met with the foundation. You heard from Dennis Elzenbach. We did a Chancellor Student Awards virtually, and Travis was part of it. And then we've also met, Doug's been opening up dialogue with Buffalo State College. We've signed that Buffalo Promise program, but we are looking now if we can expand that to include student housing. So we've had a couple of meetings on that. I participated in the chamber event. Majority Chair Crystal People-Stokes talked about the marijuana legislation, and I threw out in the chat that the college now has a cannabis track. And the Amherst Chamber of Commerce have had a number of events. I'm on the Diversity and Inclusion Task Force. We had somebody from Buffalo Public Schools that had joined the task force. And we talked about, again, that connection between business, industry, and education, about hosting some events, connecting where jobs are, the manufacturing, healthcare, where the college used to do this manufacturing where event career days, where students were bused to a location where all the equipment was there. It was sort of a hands-on touch, and the chamber was very interested. So we're going to work on a number of programs. And Mark Gollum before talked about, while we were talking during the board meeting, multiple employers mentioned about jobs and jobs opportunity. And I suggested to the Amherst Chamber of Commerce if there's a way that we can connect with their membership and our career resource centers to connect jobs with opportunities, our students, as well as internships, clinicals, and co-ops. And Mark Gollum is one of those co-op locations. His firm, he hires our employees, he pays them, our students, and he pays them while they're getting their degree. So it's a win-win. And I am going to stop there in the interest of time, but I will send a lot of updates from the provost. I don't want to steal his thunder. He is very, very involved in many initiatives, but I will include the full context of the report as part of the president's report that will be included in the minutes of the April board meeting. Questions?
Bill, I have a question. This is Len, or maybe for Doug. What is the cannabis program going to be at the college? What are our students going to learn in that program?
So it's part of our biotechnology science degree program. So they'll take 3 or 4 courses as a track within that program. So they're going to be looking at lab science related to the botanics of cannabis and its use of products. Again, we had to submit the courses through Suny State Ed. We just received State Ed approval. And through a lot of hard work, through a lot of people, we were looking to offer this in the fall, but we're going to be able to offer it this summer 2. I think the opportunities before us right now, this whole cannabis legislation has gotten a lot of press, and we want to be in front and start offering courses. Trustee Massiello has connected us with Zephyr, who is Kate, and I saw the business first, and I don't recall the details. They are planning on building a large plant in South Buffalo along the waterfront, I believe.
I believe so. So this is Brad Termini's
right.
Enterprise, and I just thought it was important for us to hear from employers in this industry what they need in terms of curriculum and the skill set for our graduates. So I'm glad that Audium was able to connect with Brad.
Well, we're still working on it. On it. We're offering the courses. There's been multiple emails, and that's why I tried to keep you out of it, because there were so many emails going back and forth. I didn't want to busy your schedule. So we're still working on that first meeting.
Okay, thanks,
questions? Bill. You're very welcome.
Bill, thank you for your usual comprehensive and excellent report. Very helpful on all those fronts. You mentioned a couple of things that prompt a comment. The first, in my mind, is graduation, commencement. I would just like to take a moment. Colleen mentioned earlier how we're all about the students, and we, with all our money woes and our difficulties in managing the place through this, we're always well served to go back to the touchstone of our students. And I just would like to say that on behalf of the Board of Trustees and of course the entire community here, met all the folks on this call, these students who are graduating in the cohort of 2021 deserve a real significant commendation and pat on the back for making their way through to graduation, the most difficult circumstances that any cohort of graduating students in our college's history have ever had to deal with. And I just think that should be noted and applauded. And education comes in all forms sometimes, and maybe this is a form of education that will help them as they enter a tumultuous world. But this is quite a cohort, and I hope that, I know Denise and her remarks will note that, but from the Board of Trustees, we're just impressed and proud and very grateful that our students hung in there and made their way to graduation in this year of the pandemic. It's a remarkable achievement. To that end, and in connection with that, I think I'd also like to say a special word of appreciation to the academic side of the house, represented by many people on this call, but of course, our Provost Doug, our Vice Provost Fabio, our academic deans, our deans of students at the various campuses. The students that I mentioned who have made it through successfully to graduation could not have done it without a tremendous amount of unusual support, totally repurposing and repositioning the way academic services are delivered. And and at the grassroots level, the faculty dealing with that, switching on a dime from in-person instruction to online instruction, something that no one had ever really done or contemplated before, with no advance warning. It's just a remarkable achievement. So as we spend so much time thinking about the challenges that we're presented with and some of the pitfalls that we see in the future, I just think it's a remarkable achievement to be here, graduating a class, and everyone on this call had a hand in that. And I'd just like to express the board's appreciation for that. I'm happy that Denise, our chairwoman, Denise Wilson, has come back, and she may be having a little bit of an internet issue, but Len is definitely on the line. We've heard from him. The two remaining items are the report of the chairwoman and which includes really the presidential search report. So some combination of Denise, if she can pick it up now, and then Len, if could bolster it if she cannot, she could report on those items. Before I just jump to that, though, one last thing from me, and that is when Bill mentioned the federal stimulus and the various Biden proposals and so forth. It can get your head can start spinning trying to keep track of last year's various stimulus events and legislative packages, what passed, what didn't, what was proposed, where did it all wind up? And then we have the Biden administration coming in and making new proposals and what's happening there. The way I'm keeping track of it, and I offer this, and I'm not sure this is completely correct, but I think it's mostly correct, is that we had several things last year, and I'm just going to put them over on the side and be grateful for them. But since the Biden administration took over, there is essentially 3 packages, each roughly 2 million in size, that are being discussed. The first was the American Rescue Plan, focused on all the checks and immediate COVID relief and so forth. And that passed and has happened, roughly 2 million, 1.9. The next piece that came out and discussed was the infrastructure piece. And that is not yet passed, but that's infrastructure broadly defined by the Biden administration as involving not just roads, bridges, ports, airports, but many more things like the electricity grid and human infrastructure in ways that I think are quite creative and helpful. And then kind of taking off from that, that's 2 million or so and has not been enacted yet, but was promoted aggressively by the president last night in his speech. Then we have a third piece, also roughly 2 million, that the Biden administration has proposed along the lines of, I think Bill used the term wraparound services earlier, and that would be transportation, food security, childcare, those things that prevent people from achieving their full potential, especially at our population at the community colleges particularly, would be particularly benefited by that array of helpful services. So I'm thinking of it as 2, 2, and 2, total 6. 2 of which has passed and 4 of which has not yet passed, but that's how it breaks down. That's how I see it. I thought I'd just share that thinking in case anyone wants to expand on that or correct me, but that's how I'm following the action right now. Denise, can you pick up? How's your internet situation? Because we got your
I'm good.
and the search report before we go to old and new business and adjourn. I'll
Okay.
stop there.
Jeff, just to pick up the language that I was able to pull up, talked about $62 billion for a grant program to invest in completion and retention activities at colleges and universities, proven solutions for student success, including wraparound services ranging from childcare and mental health services to faculty and peer mentoring, emergency basic needs, grants, practices that recruit and retain diverse faculty, transfer agreements between colleges, and evidence-based remediation programs. All good for our students. No doubt about it.
Huge.
Absolutely. I should be okay. I was able to get out of traffic and into my office, so my internet is well. Thank you, Trustee Stone, for facilitating the meeting, and I'm glad I didn't miss it all. As far as my report, and I promise not to keep you long, I heard some of the report in the president's report, so I am not going to belabor, but it was my honor and privilege to speak both at the student association's program where we had Lieutenant Governor Hochul, Chairwoman April Baskins present their story. I think I touched on this a little bit last time, but I don't mind saying it again. Just again, thanking Ms. Ida Parker and also Jason Perry and the SGA for a wonderful event that was very well attended. Then also having a chance to speak and not just speak, but listen to the stories of other phenomenal women in this community during the Moms program. Special thank you to Patrina Hill Cheatham and also Lenora Footbeavers for hosting that event, and all faculty and staff who were involved. Another phenomenal event, and listening to stories just really energizes me. I think I can listen to, I think that helps the work even more, because you align the work with purpose, and it makes it very meaningful. So I want to just thank you again for the invitation and allowing me to participate. On top of several meetings, business meetings of the college, I've met with County Executive Polling Cars, Interim President Bill Reuter and I meet consistently, and with fellow trustees off and on, and also representatives from our union. We have had meetings as well during our time apart. I just want to reiterate Trustee Stone's remarks as far as thanking the faculty and staff for yet another semester and doing the best that you could with the challenges that we face. I want to also thank President Reuter. His report, I think if he took a deep breath, we would maybe have a chance to digest the amount of work that he does. And it is evident if you have ever seen his desk with the pile of papers that, is stacked up high. You barely can see his face, but he is working tireless during this time to move our college forward. And I appreciate from the bottom of my heart every single one of you on this call or listening who have supported him, who have been by his side, who have fielded negative information, comments, or anything from him, and just protected him so he can do good work. And I know it is hard because everyone has a thought, opinion, and comment, but we have to continue to move forward. So if you have been one of those pillars to help hold up President Reuter, I just want to thank you too. I wish I knew you all by name, but I do not. So thank you, and thank you, Bill, for your work. I want to also say and I know I missed this, but congratulations to Ms. Jamie Smith and Mr. Dan Kaufman on their movement, upward mobility. I hope that the time that was spent with Suny Erie was insightful. I thank you both for the work that you have done here. I wish you tremendous success at your new places. And Bill already, put that little pin in with Dan, and I'll say the same with Jamie. Jamie, you're gonna be working with some real hitters over there. So don't forget us back here. We're just down the street from you. So I just want to say congratulations to both of you. And I'm sorry. So Audium, thank you, Audium, for the work that you have been doing with progressing that department. And she has quickly moved from the face of Northland to the face of technical and engineering, the face of, STEM, the face of workforce. And, so she is really just doing that. And we are extremely blessed to have you a part of this college. So thank you for that. Tapings of I did 2 tapings. I did the graduation, also did the 75-year celebration. I think there was a third one, but I can't remember, but it was accompanied in. But I just want to just send a special thank you to the AV team. Bob, who you all know, Ryan.
Right there. Right
you
there.
may not know
Right
Ryan. And Nick. So as well as Paula, but they really made that entire experience great. Those are the behind the scenes individuals that you rarely get to see, but it was amazing. I look back to the production he's trying to get Bob to come up. The production at the of the Irish. Tell him your laptop's broke. He'll come. But of the dancers, the Irish dancers, and how it really was well produced and well displayed, and that was all done in house. So we have great talent within our team, and so I just wanted to acknowledge them during this time. The last thing I will talk about, and my co-chair Chair Linehan is also fill in, is the presidential search. We took a huge step to the next phase where we received over 49 applicants from all over, from New York to, West Coast, all over. And I'm extremely pleased with the quality of the candidates that has come through. We have as you know, a robust search committee, and the vast majority took the time to really dig through all applications or resumes, and some I'll just give them, some of those submissions were 30 pages long and we read through each one. We have made a selection of candidates, has chosen a selection of candidates to advance to the next round, which is short videos that they will submit to the college, to the committee, and we can review. We ask them a few questions and they'll respond via video, kind of get a more in person or a more feel, just as opposed to just what's on paper. And in May, we will be hosting interviews as well as on campus interviews as we narrow down the pool. This is a very robust process, is very thorough, however, and it keeps those involved very busy. I would like to also say thank you very, very much to Kelly and Gail for their support through all of this. You guys are rock stars and definitely worth more than what we could ever offer. So I just want to say thank you to both of them. Lynn, do you have anything else to add regarding the search?
Just to just some specifics. As Denise said, we cut the list down from 49, I think, total applicants. We're down to 14. This coming week, we're going to be looking at the videos, and by the end of next week, cutting that list down to 8. And then from there, as Denise said, we'll be having some in-person interviews toward the end of May, and we will get it down to 3 to 5 to send to the board of trustees for, final decisions. So yeah, it's been a very robust and busy period. Denise is providing great leadership, as has the support staff, Kelly and Gail, and the members of the search committee have all been very helpful in working towards finding the right person to come to Erie community. So again, just we express our appreciation, and we look, the next month will be crucial to this whole process.
Thank you. Thank you. I will end my report there. I don't know if there's anything I missed, but if it comes to me, I'll make sure I share at some point. Just want to also reiterate, there is light at the end of this tunnel, and it is because of everyone who sits around that board table with myself that I am able to see, ahead, and I am encouraged by the efforts of the college, the efforts of, the even individual efforts, and even the interest and the desire of community partners to work with us. There are people who are putting us at the top of the list. And for those of you who may be new, that has not always been the case. And I think we are establishing ourselves I'll say this, a better reputation amongst our community stakeholders. But we cannot stop here. We have to continue and forge forward, and think creatively, think innovatively, bring ideas to the table. This is how it's always been done is not the SUNY Erie that we wish to have. We wish to have, again, innovation, greater ideas, greater collaborations, think outside of the box. Matter of fact, let's just cut the box away. There is no box, there's no limit. And let's see where we go from here. I'm extremely optimistic about our future. I'm extremely optimistic about potential students enrolling. I'm extremely optimistic about us bursting out of the seams soon, in spite of our challenges. So I ask that you continue to move forward. Don't get deflated. So with that being said, that is the end of my remarks. Is anyone has any questions, comments? Perfect. Okay. Well, we will continue. I think I left my agenda it's in my work bag. I'm sorry. But I think we have old business. Is there any old business?
I would just point out to trustees, if you're anything like me and still need to fill out your Erie County Board of Ethics form, which is due May 15th, this is a reminder.
Yeah, thanks, Kate.
After last year, I was like, as soon as it came, I did it. I was the last one, and I was told I was the last one. Okay. So for new business, we have edited policy micro-credentials. Doug? Am I reading the right thing?
I think
No,
you're on
you're
the minutes. That's last month.
Oh, I'm sorry. I grabbed the wrong packet. Okay. Jeff, you're probably in better position to take this from here because I'm not organized.
Yeah, no, I think you got it. We old business. I I did not hear there were any additional old business items. Thanks for that reminder, Kate. Any new business that has not been covered already in the meeting? Any closing comments from anyone? Hearing none, the easy part, a motion to adjourn our meeting, 11:39 this morning.
Second.
Very well. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
And thank you, everyone, for attending the meeting and for the good, thoughtful reports.
Thank you
Next
so
we'll-
much.
Thanks, everybody.
Stay well. Bye.
Have a good day.
Everyone.